Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Richard. What's today? Today is Friday. Happy Friday, 8 p.m. up here in Los Angeles area. So yes, I'm doing a I'm doing a YouTube live right now. Previously, yesterday, the conversation topic was I wrote it to be about happiness and I guess overcoming hardships, and really this is just going to be a free flow conversation. So if you're joining us now or joining us later, whatever it is, welcome and enjoy this free flow conversation that we're going to have. I just got back from a trip from Taiwan, which is like halfway across the world for me. And I was there for the past 2 weeks, and now I'm back home. So I have a lot of things to share. Whoa, Chowder. Hey, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's see. I don't know. Honestly, here's what I have to say. Like, this is just going to be a completely free flow conversation. I don't really know what the topic is going to be, but we're going to figure out as we go. And whoever's on right now, we'll have a conversation, talk about life, and let's just have fun with it. All right. So Hal Runner, let's see. Glad you're back. Thank you very much. Keely, hey, what's going on? Good to see you. Yeah, and for anyone who's on right now, feel free to kind of just jump in and if there's any kind of conversations or things you want to talk about, I'll be more than happy to just have a conversation. So there's so many interesting things that have happened in these past 2 weeks for me. It scales like some personal stuff, some relationship stuff, some pretty good stuff. Goodness, I don't know where to start from here. I have like a super random thing. So I have not eaten in, let me see. I have not eaten in over 30 hours. And that was kind of by chance. Like, since I came back home until now, I just haven't eaten. And it's because I've been really busy unpacking and or sleeping or doing something else. And it's weird. It's like, I can't believe for the past 30 hours I have not been hungry. Maybe that's because I ate so much when I went traveling or something. But here I am, and I'm just trying to adjust back to my schedule right now. So, goodness, there's too much to share. I want to share everything, but I also want to make this a conversation, I guess, meaningful, and let's talk about life. Let's have a conversation where we can, connect and help each other out in a way. So there's a lot of information I have in my head right now. Let's see, Hal Runner. So I'm thinking about going on a social media diet to help me do better with no-fap. That's where my mind is right now. Cool. That's awesome. Oh, goodness. I think I'm gonna... goodness. I got some personal conversations in my head right now. I think I'm going to open up about it right now. So the reason for that is because I want to be able to connect and really just... I'm being so vague right now, but I'll get into it. So long story short is I met a girl. I met a girl that I'm pretty into. And it's crazy how everything kind of just worked out. But we've been talking a lot. And I feel like my life, kind of like my perspective of life, has shifted so much just in this past 1 or 2 weeks of just hanging out. And I don't know. Again, like, how do I say this? I did not prepare ahead of time to figure out what I'm going to share and what I'm not going to share. So I'm going to share things, and whatever gets out there gets out there. So that is pretty much what it is. And ask questions, and I'll just kind of feel it out. Whatever feels like right information to share, I'll share. And I'm overall a pretty open person, but it's just like, this is so new to me. Like, this whole relationship thing is. And she knows my YouTube channel, so she might be watching this right now. So hello. Oh goodness. All right, where do I start with this? This is crazy. Life's been super crazy right now, and there's so many different aspects of it to talk about. Let's see, Chowder. Just wanted to say thanks for the advice. Just asking to give advice to others instead of just giving it to them has helped immensely. I want to repeat that one more, or reread that one more time. Just want to say thanks for the advice. Just asking to give advice to others instead of just giving it to them has helped immensely. You're welcome. I'm not perfectly clear what you mean by that. So please clarify. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do right now, please forgive me for kind of rambling a little bit as I try to figure out what I'm going to say. I've been really busy unwinding and unpacking and, just getting situated back here in the United States since I've been gone for the past 2 weeks. And literally it was like 8 p.m. like, shoot, I gotta start the YouTube live because I was busy doing a bunch of other stuff, just catching up. So today's conversation, I want to focus on happiness. I want to focus on getting through tough times, kind of like if we're in like this really negative space, how do we get out of that? And I'm going to tie in my own personal experiences of just meeting this girl and how meeting this person has, in a way, temporarily, I can't say like for the rest of my life, but temporarily has shifted my happiness. It's not just the fact that I get to talk to her every single day and I have someone to connect with, which is absolutely amazing and a huge part of why I feel super happy in this moment. But it's also the conversations that we've had, this girl and myself have really opened up a lot of new perspective in my life and showed me kind of almost like where the joy lies in our lives. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So yes. All right. Giving advice without asking them first. Giving advice. Oh, gotcha. I remember what we're talking about. Yes. I'm glad that was helpful. And see, Empire says, when I'm in a negative space, I write poetry or watch my favorite comedians. Awesome. That's great. I think so this is a perfect segue, Empire, mind, body, soul. That's a perfect segue to talking about happiness and sadness and how do we balance our emotions. I think life is crazy. Life is challenging. Not all of our lives are equal. Some of us go through more hardships than other people, and that's just the way life is. And I feel like at the end of the day, how we stay happy is gratitude. I think that's such a huge part of just being happy. The thing is, in our lives, we're constantly going to compare ourselves with other people. We're going to compare ourselves with people who, quote unquote, have it better than us. And then we're also going to compare ourselves with people maybe who don't have it as good as we do, or whatever it is. What I come to realize is that we just got to appreciate what we have. I know that sounds super cheesy and cliche, but I just realized that's just what it is. Like, I don't feel like I have the right to say that, I don't know how to say this, like that I've been through all the most intense amount of struggles in my whole entire life. I am very, very blessed. I'm very, very privileged to be where I am today. The fact that I live in a 2-story house in Orange County, California, even though it seemed like my parents were struggling a lot with money, that was the story growing up. The matter of fact is we still had food. Even though we struggled with finances, we still had food. And I still have freaking a room to live in, a bed to sleep in, and things like that. Sure, maybe for the past 2 years I struggled with taking care of my dad. That's a struggle. But the thing is, I still have so many blessings and privileges that I don't know what to, I can't complain about those things, So sometimes we compare ourselves with other people. We wish we were more talented than other people. We wish we were smarter. We wish we looked better, more attractive. We wish we didn't have pimples, or we wish we weren't overweight or a little bit socially awkward, or we didn't have to take care of certain responsibilities like taking care of a grandma, or we wish we had parents that were together, or we wish we had money, or we wish we weren't gay or discriminated in any other way. So there's so many different ways to see this, but I just feel like at the end of the day, the big message is, in order to move from our sadness and move towards happiness, is to focus on the gratitude, to focus on what we do have versus what we don't have. So that's a big part of it. And there's another big part of it that I see totally, which is there is a reality, I believe, that we just have to face. And those are the every single day challenges that we have to face, which is the fact that, let's say, maybe you're socially awkward. Maybe you have to take care of a certain person. Maybe you don't have both parents. Maybe you're struggling with finances or relationships or certain addictions. Whatever it is, those are just the things that we get to work through. You know, we get to accept that this is just the way it is, and not accept in the way that, you know, oh, this is what it is, I can't do anything about it, but accept that this is the circumstances that we've been given, and now it's up to us to honor the challenges that we have and move forward from them. Goodness. Sorry, like I have so many different thoughts. Like I can't share. There's some things that are just like, it's not the right timing to share because it's very personal to other people. So I will not share them in this moment, if that makes sense. Once they become more open, I will be more willing to share. You know, if it's my life, I have more freedom to share that kind of stuff. But that's what I have right now. So hope that was a nice little rant or whatever. I am going to catch up with these comments that y'all just wrote to me. Empire, Mind, Body, Soul, love that name by the way. When I'm in you said that one. Hellrunner, good to have a go-to for the bad moments in your life. Yes, I like that. Empire says, that is true. Being grateful is important. Hellrunner, that is Shy the dog is happier than... that is why the dog is happier than the human. He's just happy to be alive. That's awesome. I like that. Chowder, do you think pouring yourself into something, art, for example, art, film, gaming, athletics, is a healthy way to cope with sadness and depression? Yes. I believe that when we pour, I would call this an outlet. So when we have emotions and we're able to express them, I think that is so much more healthier than bottling up our emotions and just holding on to them. Because if we hold on to them, then I feel like that's very toxic for our body. So let's see. Alrighty, Chowder, we're gonna hang on that question and talk about this question for a second. The question is, again, do you think pouring yourself into something like a certain hobby, art, film, gaming, athletics, is a healthy way to cope with sadness and depression? So let's go with sadness and depression. If we are feeling sad and depressed and we kind of feel stuck in this space, how do we get out of that? How do we become more happy with our lives? I'm going to give you kind of based off my own personal experiences, and how do I say this? I don't know everything, but I've been through enough situations in my life to have something to give at least, and I hope this is valuable. You know, and again, we all go through a lot, so we can all learn from each other. So again, let's talk about how do we overcome sadness and depression. I think there's a lot of different ways and a lot of different little things we can do in order to overcome it. Chowder, as you mentioned, yes, if you're feeling sad or depressed, putting that energy, giving ourselves an outlet to express ourselves, that negative emotions and things like that is definitely a really important thing to do. We need to, what is it called? Catharsis. I believe the term is catharsis. And it's this idea of just letting go of all the crap, letting go of all the negativity, letting go of the frustration, the anger, the sadness, the depression, letting go of everything. And we need an outlet for that. So that's step number one. Step number one is self-awareness, being aware that you have all this negative energy. Step number two is release, let it go. So once you're aware, you want to release it, let it go. If you keep it inside, that negative energy is going to stay with you forever. So again, number two, release, let it go. Let all that negative energy go. And then number three is kind of like a move forward. The thing is, when we're sad and depressed, yes, honor that space, honor that time. If you're feeling sad and depressed, let yourself feel sad and depressed. You know, it's almost like owning it. How do I say this? Don't pretend you're not sad or depressed. Just let yourself be. You know, go work through that process. And so that was number two, right? Like kind of like that release, let it go. And then number three is, this is where I think this is a somewhat important step, which is, it's kind of like take action. It's, if you're feeling sad or depressed, don't linger in sadness and depression for the rest of your life. You know, don't linger in it forever. You will know when the time is right to move forward. Yes, there is a little bit of, I feel like this is my belief, you know, I'm not a psychologist, but my belief based off my own experiences is we all need our time to heal, you know? Time heals wounds. There we go. So we all need our time to do our inner healing by ourselves, go through our own process. So honor that space that you need, but then as soon as you see opportunities to move forward, move forward. You know, you know yourself best, and you need to just trust and I don't know how to say this. Like, don't put so much pressure on yourself that, oh, I got to move forward right now, right now, right now, because I think that pressure that we put on ourselves to push ourselves to move forward, all that really does is it just causes anxiety. I'm going to tie in some real life stuff right now, which is the truth of the matter is sometimes as a student, as a someone who's working, as someone who has to take care of their family or whatever it is, the truth is we don't always have the time to honor our time in our depression or our sadness. Sometimes life is moving on and it's kicking us in the ass, and we got to do something. So in those moments, those moments that we temporarily just got to suck it up and just keep pushing forward, even if we feel crappy, depressed, and sad. You know, we got to keep pushing to study, to get good grades, to get into whatever it is, a good school, or to get that good job, whatever responsibility that you have. That's just the reality of it. Jan, good to see you on. But with whatever time that you do have, if you're feeling sad and depressed, but you have so much work to do, handle those urgent responsibilities. And the next step would be, Kevin, good to see you on. The next step would be to honor yourself with that space. Give yourself that space to just I don't know, just let go. It's a process. So I feel like I'm doing a lot of hypothetical talking. I'm gonna share a little bit about my own story and kind of how I went from kind of feeling depressed to feeling much better in this past year. Hopefully this will be supportive to you. Okay, so I mentioned this for those of you who kind of are on frequently. I've mentioned this several times, but let's kind of fill people in who have not been here, and it'll be a little bit of a recap. So the first 6 months of this year were very depressing for me. I got to a point where I was having suicidal thoughts. And not that I was ever going to do anything, but I had suicidal thoughts. I had the questions in my head thinking like, Richard, like, what's the point of living? Like life is so miserable right now. Like there is no point in living. It's just, why am I here? Like, what is the purpose of life? This is me. And many of you know I'm an inspirational speaker. Like, I speak to high school students, and I'm supposed to inspire and motivate and all this stuff. And even for myself, I'm having these thoughts of, what is the purpose of life? Like, that's crazy, right? Like, the fact is, the matter of the fact is, I'm a human being. I go through my own challenges like everyone else does. And that was just the process that I went through. Thankfully, nothing happened in the 6 months that made me, do that. And thankfully, I had the support, such as my brother, who super cares about me. He very much does care about me. And that really helped keep me going through the tough times. I remember in the 6 months that I was struggling with my depression and kind of these negative thoughts, and just feeling so hopeless, feeling just like I would never ever get out of this hole. Like, literally, I did not see the light at the end of the tunnel. I could not see it. I was in such a dark space that I was blinded. I was just like, I locked myself in my room, didn't talk to people, tried to just ignore everyone, and crossed my fingers that no one would hire me in the earlier half of this year, because I didn't know what I would say if I got up on stage. So that's literally where I was. And it was these little moments where I figured out things like, I started thinking, okay, what are the little habits? What are the little bad habits that I have that are escalating all this negative emotions? I talked about this before, but video games. I was playing a lot of League of Legends. League of Legends, great game. I still love it. But the way I was playing it was it was an escape. And it created a lot of negativity. So I actually uninstalled that, I don't know how long ago, a few months ago or whatever. A few months? I don't remember. So I uninstalled it. And that was kind of like a first step to kind of moving forward. What else did I have? I started realizing that I didn't really have a schedule or any habits. So I started creating little habits. I've already talked about this. I'm sorry if I'm being a little bit repetitive. But yes, what helped me get out of that darkness, that negativity, was creating, like, waking up at a certain time. Let's say, like, at first it was like 7:30 a.m. For me, that's not that early. but early when I was feeling sad and depressed. So wake up at 7:30 a.m., go to sleep at midnight or something like that. So just start creating some structure. Second thing is, I just started thinking like, okay, what are some other healthy habits, even if I don't feel like doing it? Like, at least start small. So I did things like exercise. Exercise, I forgot when I started, it might have been 1 time a week or 3 times a week. And it was just very short, like go out for a walk or, just do something small. Just get that momentum building, because the hardest part is getting started. That's really, I know that's a very, very cliche phrase that people say, but that's really true. The hardest part is just getting started. So I started building on these little tiny habits, and over time they built up over and over, and it's it was like this small, and now it's like it's growing. And the girl I'll say dating, the girl I'm dating right now, like we're talking a lot, and we're talking about how do we challenge each other to have positive habits. And so I'm at a place right now where I'm literally discussing like eating really clean. Jake, was that you? I can't remember. It was Jake or someone else. Was that you, Jake? Where we talked about how I said I would stop eating deep fried foods when I got back in December. And it is December 1st, and I'm following through with that commitment. So in this moment, I'm not eating deep fried foods. I'm not eating fast food. And I haven't fully mapped out my plan, but I'm in a space right now where literally I was eating a bunch of junk food earlier this year. And then now I'm transitioning into eating really clean. Like, again, I have not eaten in 30 hours. Surprisingly, I'm not super hungry. But when I start eating, I want to start eating clean. Like, I want to eat like real foods, whole foods, fruits, vegetables, meat too. Very as little carbs as possible. Like I just want to eat very clean, have more energy, and get back on track. So. Yes, I hope that was supportive in some way. So anyway, if you're feeling sad or kind of in that negative space and you're feeling kind of stuck, just know like the way you get out of it is literally you just take one step at a time. It's literally just, if you're stuck in that like a hole, you can't just get out of a really deep hole. You gotta figure out a strategy. Like you gotta carve at the walls and build little handholds that you could grab up or whatever it is. So you gotta just inch your way up. Or you could use the other strategy, which is you could dig dirt underneath you and stand on the dirt and rise yourself up to the top. Rico, good to see you on. So that's really what it is. Like if you're feeling sad and depressed and kind of hopeless wherever you are, this is tough. Like there's so many different scenarios, because in my mind, when I'm stuck, little habits build me up. Going to the gym, eating healthier, whatever it is, just doing things that are in alignment with myself and who I am as a person is really helpful. So for you, I think that's the same thing. If you want to start feeling more positive and happy about yourself, I believe the best way to do that is take action that is in alignment with yourself. So do things that make you feel good about yourself, and don't do things that don't make you feel good about yourself. That's pretty much the simple way of figuring out, is what I'm doing in alignment with myself? Does it feel good to do it? And like kind of like on a deeper level. So yeah, that's what I have. There's a lot of different things, a lot of different ideas that I have right now. So I think one thing that's really important that I have not touched upon right now is, if you're in a negative space, if you're feeling sad or depressed, and you feel hopeless or whatever it is, I would say I should have addressed this first in this whole past 24 minutes, but I think there is a reality, which is you're going to still be going through your challenges. Like let's say you're failing school. Let's say you have Fs and you normally get like Bs or A's, B's, or C's. You're just failing all your classes. The reality is that you got Fs and you want to improve your grades. And like that's just, I don't know how to say it, like that's just what it is. Like you get to accept that that's where you are right now. You got Fs, and the next question is, okay, I think we need to, okay, like I said, accept, be aware of it, let go. And in this case, I want to say let go of stop focusing on the Fs that you have. Stop focusing on how you're failing and start focusing on what do you need to do to pick up your grades. You know, of course, you want to set a goal. Set a goal. You could be like, you know what? I have Fs right now. I want to set a stretch goal for myself. That's going to be really tough for me, which might be, I want to increase my grades from my F to a, let's say, a B or a C. And in your mind, you might be thinking, oh, that's crazy. Like, that's almost impossible right now because my grades are so bad. But I think it's important to have a goal to move towards, and like work as hard as you can to work towards that goal. And don't feel disappointed if you fall short. Like, I think what you should be looking at is not the grade you end up getting, but how much effort you put into it. And be proud of the work that you've done. Even if you end up with D's, or even if you still end up with an F, acknowledge the effort that you put into it. Because I get it, GPA in school is like, it's a measurement. It's like, this defines kind of your self-worth, or a lot of people's self-worth. No, like, screw the GPA. I get it. Colleges want your GPA. They want to know how well did you do, class rankings, all that stuff. But like, I don't know, that like that stuff is, in my opinion, in the grand scheme of life, that shit is like, it's so irrelevant. It's so like, nobody cares about GPA when you graduate. You know, it's just a number. Like, that's really what it is. So really just focus. I feel like school is such a great time to build up character. So even if you're not doing well, but you're like busting your ass off, like if you're working really hard and you know you're working hard and you know you're challenging yourself, and even if you're not doing well, but you're challenging yourself, I believe that skill set, that dedication, that commitment to working hard is going to be more important than the actual grade that you get. So, whew, yeah, that's what I have. I have a million other conversations in my head, but let's read through some comments. Make sure we are... Oh, goodness, I just read a funny comment. I'll get to that in a second. All right. Keely, tell yes, it is healthy. I swim and run to get myself out of sadness. Yes. Sprinting for me does get my mind out of what's bothering me, because you really focus on bettering yourself in that hobby. I agree. That's great. I think exercise is definitely a great way to kind of de-stress. And how do I say this? For anyone who kind of like is like, yeah, I know exercise is good for me, but I don't really feel like doing it, and I've tried it before and it doesn't really work, or whatever it is. I'm going to share my own personal experience, which is I've been through a lot of lows in my life, and everyone says, oh, go exercise, it's good for you and it'll make you feel better. And I've gone to go exercise, and I've had so many times where I go exercise and I don't feel a difference. And I'm like, that was such a waste of my energy. That was such a waste of my effort. Why did I even do like that? I don't want to do this anymore. I believe exercise, even if it doesn't feel like it's doing much for you in a specific moment, sometimes it does. It gives you endorphins, all that good stuff. It makes you feel happy, energized, proud of yourself, great. But in those moments that it does not make you feel good immediately, just know that you are still building up your self-esteem, your self-trust, your self-respect. Because when you push yourself to do something that you know that you should be doing, it just builds up that character with yourself. Self-trust. Like, really, it's when you push it, when you know you could do something that you normally would be like, nah, I don't feel like doing it. That's going to make you feel so much better about yourself in the long run. And trust me, I struggle with this all the time. I get lazy. Yeah, a lot. Jacinta? Jacinta. Sorry. Oh, goodness. Hello. Good to see you on. Alrighty. I just butchered your name. Okay, so yes, sprinting exercise, I think that's good all around. Okay. All right. Just Being. Hey, good to see you on. Yo, bro, Just Being is saying to me, yo, bro, you need a haircut again. I know. I just, let's see. I got a haircut like 2 weeks ago. Maybe 2.5 weeks ago. But it's also because I haven't showered in a while. It's a long story. Don't judge me. And if you judge me, I really don't care, because I'm comfortable enough with myself. So it's just I've been so busy that I'm just like I'm not gonna shower before this, and I'm gonna go exercise right after this. So I'm like, there's no point in showering and then doing a Facebook or YouTube live and then working out and then showering again. So here you go. You get to see the messy Richard. All right. In terms of getting a haircut, soon enough. We'll figure out when I feel like getting a haircut. Whenever I have time for that. Alrighty. Let's see. Chowder, what's the difference between an escape and pouring yourself into something? Escape, obviously, it's like literally you're avoiding other things in your life. And an escape it's intentional. It's like you're afraid to handle something, so you just go run away. Like, you should be going that way because that's the way that you're going to be happy and successful and all that kind of stuff in your life. But you're like, that's scary though. I don't want to work on that right now. So I'm going to go that way. That is an escape. Now, the other side of it is, what's the difference between the escape and pouring yourself into something? So I think Jake, you got to be clear on this one. So let's talk about video games for a second. Let's say you should be going this way in your life, but you run that way towards the escape. You can go to your escape and pour yourself into your escape. The problem is that if you're pouring yourself into your escape, then you're wasting a lot you're not addressing the main issue. You're still escaping, okay? Now you could pour yourself, how do I say this? If you're pouring yourself into something that's towards your success and happiness and your goals, then great, keep doing that. So that's what I have, Where, I guess the question I would summarize is where are you pouring your energy into? Are you pouring your energy into your escape? Or are you pouring your energy into kind of your vision, your future, and where you should be going? So that's kind of the question that you have. Okay, I want to repeat that question one more time so it's clear-ish. The question I have is, where are you pouring your energy into? Are you pouring your energy into your escape? Or are you pouring your energy into where you should be heading, your vision, your goals, and all that stuff? Now, what I'm going to say right now is, if you're still trying to figure things out, which, as human beings, we are always trying to figure things out, I think the absolute best case scenario is pour yourself into something that's meaningful for you. Pour yourself into something that is towards the direction that you want to go into. For sure, that makes sense. That's easy. Now, if you're struggling and you're still trying to figure it out, I believe it's okay to pour yourself this way and pour yourself this way into the escape temporarily. But eventually, you want to be able to move from this escape and move towards the vision that you want. So, yeah, hopefully that's supportive. If you have more questions, feel free to drop them down, and we'll talk about it for sure. All right, Jake. The first step to getting out of depression is action. I love that. That's so important. So important. If you want to get out of a sadness or depression or this negative energy, if you just had a breakup or someone rejected you, or you bombed your test, or you failed your class, or whatever the heck it is. I feel like action is huge. It's so important to getting back on track. Like, literally, action is what gets us out of depression. I agree with that, because it's like when you take action, you move forward. Like, that. Sorry. No, are we back? Okay, sorry about that. I just got a call. Let's see. Can I? That's okay. All right. Let's see. Keely, have you been in a situation where you had plans with a friend but then cancels to hang out with their other friends because they're cooler? Have I been in that situation? Okay, so friends canceled on me because they want to hang out with other friends. Have I been here? Okay, so hey, sorry about that. I'm getting calls. Okay, so again, the question is, have I been in a situation where a friend of mine cancels hanging out with me to hang out with someone else? Maybe. I don't really remember specifically, but in a way, I get it. It kind of matters, but it also kind of doesn't matter. And here's why. um, I get it. As a human being, it could hurt a lot if if a friend or someone else goes to hang out with someone else instead of us. How that would make me feel is inferior. That would make me feel like I'm not good enough. That I'm not cool enough for this person to hang out with me. I get that. And so actually, to answer your question, yes, I've been in this situation before. And more recently, I would almost say with my circle of friends, we'll call them my entrepreneur friends. There's a lot of high-level entrepreneurs. People, I don't want to say they're above me, but they're farther along in their journey. They're more established. They're making more money. They're making more impact. And these high-level players are all hanging out with each other, And for me, I'm still, whatever you want to say, growing my business, my presence, everything like that. So I'm at a quote-unquote different level. And, they've said, hey, oh, we're actually going to hang out with these other people. And the thing is, this is not a perfect analogy, but I hope there's some overlapping principles and stuff. So in this situation, even though a part of me feels a little bit hurt in a way, like it feels a little like, oh man, I wish I could be cool enough to hang out with them, I know it's nothing personal. So Keely, I think that's kind of the message I want to give to you. If someone chooses to hang out with someone else besides you, don't take it personally. It doesn't, it doesn't matter. Don't put so much, I would encourage you, I don't want to say, you have to do this, because you don't have to do anything. Please don't think that way. I would encourage you to just consider that nothing is ever personal. And if someone, chooses to hang out with someone else, cool. Let them hang out with the other person. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It really doesn't. The girl I'm dating, who is really into personal development as well, which is awesome, she introduced to me this concept today called infinite self-esteem. And it's this idea that every single one of us have infinite amount of self-esteem. That it is only just society, it is our environment, it is our culture that tells us our value. And then we agree with our society that this is our value. We agree that if someone chooses not to hang out with you, that means you're less. But that's not the case. We got to choose our own self-worth. We got to tap into our own heart and decide, what is the gift that we want to give to this world. So that's what I have. Goodness, I'm getting calls nonstop. Let's see. Alrighty. I see a lot of conversations here. Keely, I hope that was supportive. Hold on, I'm going to scroll down to see if you had follow-up. Okay, cool. I don't see anything yet. So, again, if people hang out with other people and not you, don't take it personally. I think, in a way, this is not to put you down, but in a way, how I take... If someone else hangs out with someone else besides myself, what that means to me is I get to continue improving myself. That's all. I try not to take it personally. I try not to beat myself up and be like, oh, I'm not good enough. Because the thing is, the more, what do they say? What you focus on expands. So if you focus on not feeling good enough, then that's what expands. You're going to believe you're not good enough. But instead, I think what we need to be doing is, oh, they don't want to hang out with me? That's okay, I understand. I still get to grow myself, or it's just not a good fit. And I'm going to continue being a better person for myself so I could attract the right people into my life. So literally that's what I do. I don't attract everyone in my life. There are people that I'm like, oh, I wish I could hang out with them, but I'm not hanging out with them because I haven't attracted them yet. And that's okay, because this stuff takes time. This whole journey of improving ourselves, to become a better person, to attract certain types of people takes time. And even for me, as much, I hope this is more encouraging than discouraging, but as much time as I've put into developing myself, I'm nowhere near, the end of my journey of personal growth. It's I'm still growing. I still feel like I'm just getting started. So, but what I do know is that because I've put in time to develop myself, and again, I'm a newbie. I'm very much a newbie with this one. But because I've put time into developing myself, I now feel much more comfortable and comfortable with myself. I could trust myself more, and how do you say this? Like, I value my time. I value the relationships that I have with people. I don't waste my time with people that I know are not going to be a good fit, because there are a lot of people who like surface level conversations, who want to beat around the bush or talk about movies or talk about whatever it is, video games. No offense to anyone, by the way. They want to talk about TV shows. They want to talk about these things that, in my opinion, in my life, aren't very important to me. I don't, movies, TV shows, all that stuff, that's cool, that's great. But the thing is, I'm not focused on, TV shows and stuff like that. I want to focus on impact. I want to focus on making a difference in people's lives. And, I hope that doesn't, how do I say that? I hope that doesn't come off as pretentious or whatever it is. But like, that's my, whatever you want to call it. Like, that's my MO. Like, that's my mission in my life, So, I'm adjusting. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't talk about movies and TV shows and games and stuff like that. I still talk about those things, and that's okay. Enjoy the process, enjoy the life at the same time. So, I'm just trying to balance it more. Instead of talking about 50% entertainment stuff and the 50% impact, I want it to be more like maybe 80% impact, 20% entertainment, video games, movies, stuff like that. So having that right balance. I want to surround myself with positive conversations. Not just surface level conversations that don't really dig deep into the surface, dig deep in below the surface. So yeah, hope that's supportive. Let's see, Charter. It's really hard to get to the core of what someone cares about. Let's see. Well, okay, I'm gonna read these in order, and then I think it will connect. All right, let's see. Mariah B. At Charter, binge watching Netflix equals escape or numbing. Creating something and investing in yourself or others, such as exercising, volunteering, learning a new skill, equals pouring yourself into something. Mariah B. says, that's just my take. I hope that it helps. Thank you for that one. Rico says, I wanted to go to the club with my friend, but he lied. He said he was going to a beer fest, and I'm effing pissed off. Let's see. His dad was playing at the club, but F them all. Cool. All right. Chadder, I've been there recently. Someone canceled on me to go on a date with someone else. All right, just being, bro. You not being on YouTube live for the last 2 weeks made me depressed. Oh man. Well, let's see. What I'm gonna say is that we all get to take responsibility for our lives. So, this is a good opportunity to say, like, I appreciate the support, and I appreciate that you enjoy, kind of hanging out with all of us here, hanging out with me, and we get to have these awesome conversations, and just. How do I say this? Well, I don't know what context you mean by depressed. Like depressed, or like, just a little bit sad. We wish we could hang out more. But continue to keep filling your life with positive things. I wouldn't say, like, don't depend on one thing to keep you happy or whatever it is. Like, you got to find that happiness within yourself. You got to create your own schedule and not lean. You can lean on people for happiness and things like that. Absolutely. Relationships are so important. But continue to figure out, how do you be happy by yourself? Because I think that's one of the most important things. Speaking about relationships, one thing that I've kind of learned or heard from other people, like, this is like words of wisdom, is relationships are not about what you can get away from, like, take away from a relationship, but rather what you can give in a relationship. So again, relationships are not about what you can take away from a relationship, it's about what you can give. So I love this quote because it reminds me, if I go into a relationship with someone else, whether that's a friendship, whether it's hanging out with all of you, or a romantic relationship, whatever it is, my purpose is not to take away from this relationship. My purpose is not to see what can I get out of it. It's really, what can I give? So goodness, I have thoughts that I would be thinking if I just heard what I just said, which is, oh great, well, I don't know what I have to give. I feel like I'm a taker. Now I feel bad. So for me, I think that's okay. I think it's the intention. It's a practice. I don't, I don't expect anyone to be a perfect giver. You know, we're always trying to improve ourselves. I'm not a perfect giver either. You know, like I still take a lot, and I'm constantly trying to get away from that and trying to improve myself. So it doesn't matter where you are in your life. It's just as long as you're doing your best, I think that's really all that matters. It's the intention behind it. So just being going back to, I know I just like blew up a tiny little comment and talked a lot about it, but going back to that, it makes you feel depressed that for the last 2 weeks, you know, I haven't been making videos because I've been traveling. What I have to say for that again is thank you for your support, number one. Number two is continuing to just surround yourself with a lot of positive communities, environments, things like that. I'm grateful to be one of those communities. Continue to find, I'm grateful to be one of those communities and continue to find other ways you can connect with people and have happiness and things like that. And keep spreading that positive energy. All right. Cool. How's it not personal? Let's see. It's someone you like choosing another person over you. So how's it not personal? It's not personal. We're going back to if someone else chooses someone else over you. So the thing about life is, again, this is all philosophy. You could disagree with me. I've read it in books, whatever it is. I'm not saying I'm right, but I choose for this to be my truth because I believe it brings so much more joy in my life. And honestly, it's like there is no right answer. You know, I'm not saying I'm right and I'm not saying you're right either. There is no right answer. It's your truth is your truth. You get to make it up whatever you want. So the question is, how is it not personal if they're choosing someone else over you? It's not personal because everyone is, whatever you want to say, entitled to their own opinions and beliefs and feelings of what they want to do and who they want to hang out with. That's perfectly cool. Like, it's not personal because that is their preference. That's all it is. You know, like it's not you. It's like that's their preference. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I guess in a way it's like don't put all the focus on you. Don't put all the focus on, oh, I got rejected. You know, I must not be good enough. Stop thinking about the I. Think about them. Think about, you know, why they're choosing the other person. And a lot of it, I don't know how to say this. It's like, as a human being, it's natural to feel, to take things personally, to feel hurt after things happen. If we get rejected, we feel hurt. We feel like it's because we did something wrong, or, you know, there's something wrong with us. But really, as I'm continuing this journey, I realize, sure, you are allowed, you have the permission to think that way. But the more I explore this concept of, you know, it's nothing is ever personal, I myself have realized that, like, it's not personal. Like, it's, how do I say this? Like, if I get rejected, it's not about me. You know, like, it doesn't matter. It's just like I wasn't a good fit. That's cool. You know, that I'm gonna let it be. It is what it is. And trust me, I've been hurt a lot. Even in this past year, you know, like getting rejected by a girl who decided to go see other guys instead of me. You know, we had such a great relationship, we had such a great connection, and she decided to go date other guys, but not me. How do I say that? Yeah, something like that. So I've been there, and even in that situation, even though we're hurt, even though I felt like it was personal, I know deep down inside that everyone has the freedom to choose who they want to hang out with. So this girl that I felt hurt by, because that's my experience, you know, it's not like she was doing it on purpose. She's not like, I hate you, Richard, I don't like you, or you're just not good enough. That's not it. It's just she has a different preference, and that's cool, you know? Like, you just got to respect other people's opinions and decisions, and yeah, that's what I have. I hope that's helpful. All right. Oh, man, losing my voice. Okay. All right, try to, it's really hard to get to the core of what someone cares about. Let's see. I don't remember the context of that, so I'm gonna have to pass on that for now, Jake. Okay, Chowder, let's see, it says again, when I talk to people who are secretive, I can never figure out what they care about. I just sort of talk at them and they follow along. Got it. Yeah, it's hard. The thing about people is not everyone is going to be open, you know? People might be secretive. They're not willing to be open, vulnerable. And again, this girl that I met, let's see, like 1 or 2 weeks ago, we've had a lot of vulnerable conversations. You know, we've talked about past relationships. We've talked about whatever it is, breakups and disappointments and insecurities, and we've talked about sex and all this. Like, we've talked about a lot of different things. And the thing is, I've had a lot of conversations with this girl that I would not have with other people, or up until now I have not shared with other people. For example, I don't normally share my journal. I write a journal. I try to write it every single day, but like, she was one of the first people that I shared my journal with. It's not that I'm not willing to share it. It's just like, in certain circumstances or situations, it's just like, I don't feel the need to share, or whatever it is, or the opportunity doesn't come up. So if you're talking about people being secretive or not willing to be vulnerable, I think all we got to do really is just honor them. Honor that they are in their space. Honor that they're not ready to open up and be vulnerable. And if that's the case, you know, it's like, there's several things you could do. If it's like a stranger or someone you're not as close with, it's just like, move on, you know? Like, if you want to have a conversation but they're not willing to, you could hang out with other people. But if it's a good friend and you want to be more vulnerable with them, I feel like the best way you can build up that relationship and get those quote unquote secrets out of them is by being the example, leading by example. So if you want someone else to open up, you have to open up first. You know, you got to talk about your challenges or insecurities or whatever it is. And then that will give them the permission, that will give them the space for them to open up as well. Now, one thing I believe is important is, we can't expect people to open up. We can only create the space and hope that they open up. I don't think we have the right to push people to open up if they're not ready to do so. So, again, that's what I do with the relationships I have. I get vulnerable, I open up, I talk about suicidal thoughts, you know, I talk about all these things. I don't expect any of you to open up to me. So, like, if you want to open up to me, great. I would love to. I love deep conversations. So I would love for people to open up with me and talk about their challenges, their suicidal thoughts, their depression, their addictions, whatever they're going through. But I believe, in a way, it's almost like a little bit of to me, it's a privilege. If someone shares that information with me, that's a privilege. It's not expected. So whenever people email me or whatever, message me like, hey, Richard, I'm going through this shit in my life, you know, super depressed, thought about killing myself, whatever the heck it is, that shit is a privilege. You know, like, it's not something that I could expect someone to share with me unless they choose to. So that's all. We just got to create space. Okay. Let's see. All right, Keely, but in some way we can't force someone to stay in our lives, and I'm sure all of us has chosen someone over someone. Yeah, absolutely. Yet we are still sad when that happens to us. I like Keely, I appreciate your words, man. It's deep, and definitely agree with that. You know, in our lives, this is so perfect. It's like talking about personal things being personal. In our lives, you, me, we have all decided who we want to hang out with. You know, there are people in our lives that we push away because they're just not a good fit for us. And that's okay. You know, it's like, it's no disrespect to other people. It's just, you know, we're trying to surround ourselves with good people, like people that we can relate with and things like that. Similarly, other people are doing the same thing. They're pushing away people that may not fit in their space, and they're just trying to find people that do fit in their space. So there we go. All right. Derek says, do you have any advice for opening up to people? Maybe it's my insecurities. It just hasn't come up, or that I'm not confident in who I am. Derek, that's a fantastic question. Absolutely. For sure. So advice for opening up to people. Yes, I have a lot of advice on this one for sure. This depends. Like, there's different parts to this question and different answers for it. The first one is kind of like, what is your goal? Like, what's your goal in opening up? Are you building up relationships, or are you trying to find someone that you can just kind of be vulnerable with and kind of let go? You know, let go of all the, like, the burden, the stress, the pressure, everything that you're holding on to. So what is your goal? The reason why this is important to know what you're trying to accomplish is because Hold on, let me see this. Okay. Do you have any advice for opening up to people? Okay, so here's the reason why I asked this one. So let's say you want to open up to someone, and you open up to this person. You're like, oh, I want to talk to this person, but I don't know if they're open to hearing me. So let's say you say, hey, Derek, I'm not saying you, but this is just an example. Let's say, hey, you're talking to, let's say you're talking to your best friend, and you're like, hey, I'm just want to let you know that I'm gay. And then your friend or whatever is like, that's funny. Like they make fun of you. And then you're like, dude, now I feel awful. Like now I don't want to open up anymore. Now I feel so embarrassed, humiliated, and not supported. So in that case, opening up is going to make you close up, actually, because you're going to get insulted, and then you're going to feel even more alienated and even more rejected. So in terms of opening up to people, if you're a little bit like scared or hesitant, my point really is find people you could trust. Find people that you can open up to. I think that's really important. That's number one. So if you don't feel comfortable opening up to people that are going to put you down, don't hang out with those people. Like go hang out somewhere else where people will support you. And then now let's talk about, I guess that's step number one, find the right people to talk to about it. Step number two is, how do you deliver that? How do you open up to people? How do you find that courage or that, whatever it is, confidence enough to share stuff with people? And this is one of those things that just kind of take courage, which everyone has inside of them, even if they don't feel like they do. So in this sense, how do I say this? What you get to do is you get to you just gotta do it. Like that's really how you sorry, that's such a hard answer, but like really the best way to get better at something is just do it. Like if you want to find that confidence to open up, like literally it's just do it. Like I almost feel like there's no other way around it. I want to share with you a story. Keely, I want to share with you... Oh, sorry, Derek. I want to share... Everyone. Derek and everyone here. I want to share with you a story about vulnerability. So I have a good friend of mine. And this good friend of mine has been single his whole entire life. He has he's struggled a lot with insecurities. He's struggled a lot with girls. Been super nervous. Like he's never ever told a girl that he liked her, because he was scared. And so he was always like closed up, he was afraid. Like he's like like he'd always take a passive seat, like didn't want to do anything. And he's the same age as me. He's 28, and he's like, I'm like, hey, you like a girl, right? He's like, yeah, I do. I'm like, why don't you tell her? And then he's like, oh no, like that's we're just friends or whatever. And I'm like, no, like seriously, like what if something happens with it? And he's like, oh dude, I don't want to inconvenience our friendship, like that's gonna screw it up or whatever. And I'm like, all right, look, from what I'm hearing you say, it seems like she likes you, like at least you're good friends, and you like her. So why not just give it a shot and see where it goes? And, we hung up the phone, a few days passed by, and he messages me and he's like, hey, I told her. So he made the decision. It was, I don't know if you can imagine this. I'm not doing a good job explaining it, but can you imagine how much courage it took for him to tell this girl for the first time in his whole entire life that he liked her? This is like one of his best friends or something like that. Like a really, really good friend that he talks to almost every single day. So similar to you, Derek, or anyone else, and myself, everyone, all of us, is sometimes opening up is tough. And sometimes we're afraid to get rejected, or, that's pretty much it. We are afraid to be rejected by other people. But sometimes it takes that risk. And I feel like for the most part, people are willing to accept to accept you and be okay with whatever that challenge, that secret that you had that you're holding on to. Most people are, oftentimes we make the secrets that we have a much bigger deal than they actually are. Yeah, so that's what I have. Like, I remember one time in my life, I had these 3 secrets. I had 3 secrets that I never shared with anyone. No family, no friends, like nobody. Like, I felt so embarrassed. And one day, my friend challenged me, and they're like, Richard, I want you to share your 3 secrets with 3 different strangers. I'm like, oh, this is so embarrassing, you know? And my friend's like, all right, not just strangers. I want you to share them with strangers who happen to be cute girls that you're attracted to. I'm like, oh, goodness, are you freaking kidding me? And I was so freaking nervous. Like, it was so stupid. Like, I was so embarrassed. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. But then I knew deep down inside that I wanted to push myself to be more open of a person and stop hiding who I am and stop feeling so insecure about myself. To stop, I don't know how to say it, like, to stop not accepting myself. Stop, like, putting myself down all the time. So I agreed to my friend's challenge, and I did it. I approached girls, and I remember walking up to the first girl, and I'm just like, hey, I'm sorry, this is kind of random. Like, I wanted to share with you kind of like my deepest, darkest secrets. Is that okay with you? And the girl's just like, yeah, sure, why not? And I shared them. Like, I was hesitating. I'm like, oh, and then after I said my secrets, she's like, oh, that's it? I'm like, and then I was like, wait, what? Like, that wasn't a big deal? She's like, oh, okay, whatever. And then I walked away. And then I got feedback. The first girl was like, okay, that's not that big of a deal. Second one, same secrets, same 3 secrets. Second girl, same reaction. Oh, okay, cool. That's it. There was no like, oh man, you're weird, like, get out of here. No, it wasn't like that. It was just like, you know, okay, cool, you know, that's whatever. It's human. And then the third one is I'll share with you. I'm like, I'll show you some of my secrets. Let's see, what is it? I'm trying to remember what the secrets were back then. One of my secrets was that I watched porn. Like, that was yeah, that was one of the secrets. So I was super ashamed of that for the longest time. And I don't know if you know, I don't talk about it a lot. It's whatever. It's a conversation. But my point is that, like, what I realize is the more I talk to people, the more I open up about my own insecurities and challenges and things like that, I realize that people are actually more accepting than I thought they would be. So Derek, whoever else is in here, whatever insecurities that you have, and if you're struggling to be open but you want to be more open, just know that it takes courage. And I don't know how to say this, like, don't worry about the rejection. You know, hopefully they don't reject you, but if they do, hopefully they do reject you. Why do I say this? I say hopefully they reject you because I think it will just be a learning opportunity for yourself. And I know it's painful, and I know you're like, oh, that's stupid. Like, why would I want to be rejected? The thing is, whether you get rejected or you don't get rejected really doesn't matter. Emotionally, you'll feel devastated if you get rejected, you know, but honestly, it's not going to matter. And the reason for that is because I believe opening up, this whole journey, Derek, of opening up and expressing yourself and being vulnerable to other people is really a journey with yourself. It's you trying to be vulnerable and open with yourself. You opening up to yourself and accepting the challenges, the insecurities, the quote unquote shameful things that you do, or we'll just call it insecurities that you have. Like, it is okay to be a human being. It's okay to have insecurities. It is okay to have bad habits. It's okay to screw up. It's okay to have cheated, lied, whatever it is on other people. Not saying you should keep doing that, but it's okay because that's the past. You know, we got to define our future starting today. So that's what I have. I hope that was helpful. That's what I have to say. Hey, everyone, all 8 of you that are on right now, like, I just want to say thank you very much for tuning in. And seriously, like, this YouTube live would be nothing without you here. Like, And I know that sounds super cliche and cheesy, but here, let me give you a quick example. Imagine if Richard here was making a YouTube live stream by himself and no one was watching it. Why the hell am I even making this? So the fact that you're here gives me purpose to do this. So thank you for that. And it's not just you, the faces that are in this room. It's also the conversations, the engagement that you have. So thank you for the questions that you've been asking, the support that you've been giving to me and other people in this room. How you comment on each other's comments, like that's so cool. You know, I want to continue to keep building this this little mini community and hang out more and have more Facebook lives. Sorry, I keep saying Facebook, YouTube lives, and just keep going. All right, so that's what I have there. Derek says, thanks, that really makes a lot of sense. I'm glad that makes sense. I'm glad it got communicated to you what I meant. All right, so it is that time. I think now's a great time to start wrapping up on this conversation. Again, today's topic is about how do we get from kind of like sadness and depression and move into happiness and joy and things like that. I'm going to try summarizing all my points really quickly. Number one, I would say is let's start with accepting the situation that we have. Sorry, I'm going to scratch that. Number one, I'll do it in the exact same order that I did. Number one was being grateful. In our lives, we all have our different challenges. Some people have quote unquote fewer challenges than we do, and other people have more challenges than we do. Some people don't have limbs. Some people are blind. Some people, have had 50 surgeries, such as my friends. Some people are missing 7 internal body organs, such as my friend. My friend, I'm going to say her name, Katie. Can you please tell me how the hell she's still positive? She has lost 7 internal organs and she's still happy. Like, she has so many physical problems and she's still happy. Like, she's one of the most happy people that I know. Why? Because she chooses to be. So, going back to that, if you're feeling sad, depressed, whatever it is, gratitude. Be grateful for what you have. Just like my friend Katie. My friend Katie practices gratitude all the time. Now, I know I'm wrapping up. I'm talking a little bit long, but on the point of gratitude and being more fortunate, less fortunate, don't compare yourself with other people either. Just because you feel more fortunate than other people, don't feel bad that you have more fortunes than other people. Embrace that. Just be like, hey, I've been privileged enough to have this. I'm still working through this. I shouldn't be complaining as much as the people who have more problems than I do, but that's okay. We're all going through that challenge. So, number one, gratitude. Be grateful for what you have and continue to just grow that, okay? So that's number one. Number two, I honestly don't remember what I said back then. I had some organized points I don't remember. I believe, self-awareness. This number 2 point has 3 steps to it, okay? First one is self-awareness. Be aware of what's making you sad, the negative habits that you have that are making you sad, whether it's your escape, binge eating, binge watching Netflix, playing video games, watching porn, maybe it's drugs, smoking, alcohol, whatever it is. Be aware of the habits that are putting you down and consider stop doing them, because if you keep doing them, they're going to escalate that negativity. If you get away from them, you're going to start feeling better, even if it's tough, even if it takes more than just that to get yourself back on track. But that's number one, self-awareness. Number 2 is, what was it? Self-awareness, acceptance? I think it was something about acceptance. I can't remember. I'm going to say it was acceptance. Accepting the challenges that you have in your life right now. And then number 3, 2.3. 2.3 is taking action. If you're feeling sad or depressed and you want to feel better, take action. Little baby steps are going to go a long way. Again, I was sad, depressed, had suicidal thoughts like 4 months ago, and I was super sad. And now I have no freaking idea how I'm happy as happy as I am right now. I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but by taking tiny little actions to improve my situation, that got me out of that black hole. If you want to have more conversations about this, I'm more than happy to do so. So that's point number 1 is gratitude. Be grateful for what you have. Point number 2 is we'll call it take action. And then point number 3, what was the final point that I made up? Oh, point number 3 is, if you're feeling sad and depressed about the situation you're in, there are things in our life that we can control, and there's things that we can't control. And what we get to do is we get to accept the challenges that we have in our lives. We get to accept the flaws or the whatever, the crap we're going through, the crap that's making us feel depressed. We get to accept. Life will always throw us curveballs, you know. I'm going to quote my friend here. Life throws us curveballs, but curveballs could still be hit for home runs. So life is going to throw crap at us, but we can still hit home runs out of those crap throws. You know, you just got to accept the challenge you're going through and just go forward. All right. Glowbeam, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Love you too. I hope this was a helpful conversation. I thought it was a good conversation. I want to dive into more conversations. My girl, goodness, this is getting serious. My girl messaged me, so I'm going to go respond back to her because she is she's kind of a big deal to me right now. So I'm going to go enjoy that. Oh goodness, this is so cheesy. I'm just blasting out there. Good. This is moving too fast. Okay, I'm going to shut up right now and I'm going to sign off. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Tomorrow night, I'm going to, how do I say this? I will schedule a Facebook Live for tomorrow night, which is Saturday, 8 p.m. Oh, yeah, I'll try to do that. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will try. I might have a little bit of overlap or some things to do. So I'm not sure, but I'll put it on the schedule. Okay, so tomorrow, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, YouTube Live. All right, cool. You all are freaking amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks for the comments and conversations. All right, take care. Have a good night.